Why, hello there. You're in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Let's talk about Midnight Oil and their new album, Resist. That was released on February 18th. It's their 13th studio album, and it follows their 2020 effort, the Makarata Project. And this will more than likely be the final studio album from Midnight Oil. They're getting ready to go out on tour to support this thing and announced that this will be their final tour. So, more than likely, this is the last record. And an excellent full circle moment if it is. These guys are absolute trailblazers, not just for bands in Australia, but for bands across the world. There are very few bands like Midnight Oil that have been able to obtain the type of commercial success that they have, balanced with longevity while being so overtly political. It's just not something that you see many bands do, and it's certainly not something that you see many bands do very well. And this explanation might seem very lazy, and I apologize if it does, but these guys are just damn good songwriters and damn good musicians. Jim Magini especially. I know Peter Garrett gets, a lot of visibility as the frontman. He was a politician in Australia for almost 2 decades as well. But Jim Magini, excellent guitar player, and he writes these guitar licks that are just timeless. I mean, you can throw on a Midnight Oil record, and it sounds like it could have come out last week or 45 years ago. I think it's one of the things that just makes them so special. And lyrically, very strong, very passionate on this record, focusing on the environment. And they can bring the thunder. I mean, they're not quite Rage Against the Machine or System of a Down, and it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility that Midnight Oil has influenced guys like that. As a matter of fact, I would be willing to bet that those two bands have very much been influenced by Midnight Oil. But, these guys write songs that cut to the core. They can be very blunt, and they're not shy about expressing their views. And, the key to being successful with this, I think, is writing music that is just as strong as the lyrics. You get great balance. And I think of Rage Against the Machine and System of a Down. Pink Floyd's another great example of, compositions that engage, that pull you in. And as a result, you become engaged in the lyrical content as well. And I think if you're going to write good political music, that's the best way to do it. And that's how it's been done by Midnight Oil for quite a while now. Obviously, they had that big gap while Peter Garrett left the band and focused on his career, but it's just great to see them come back, have this little reunion, make a couple records, make a couple really good records. And this final record, if it is their swan song, it goes against everything that we talk about on the channel with the 60-minute runtime, but it's a big effort. I like what's going on here. This music is really fun. A lot of punk rock influence, a lot of new wave and post-punk as well. I'm hearing a band, Echo and the Bunnymen. I'm hearing a lot of that on this record. A lot of U2 as well. You talk about a band that has had success being political, but certainly get some of the mellower stuff that's working on this record. I feel that inspiration of U2 there, and I'm digging that as well. But I'm really liking the punk feel on this record. There's a bit of a ska element as well. These guys have been writing great edgy rock and roll music for a very long time. And I appreciate what's going on in this record. It starts with Rising Seas. It's got this organ vocal intro. Peter Garrett's voice, very strong on this record. And the intro kind of feels like a eulogy. And then the rock and roll riff kicks in. And this song definitely got this punk feel to it to kick the record off. I absolutely love the way it starts. The Bark of Darling River is your second song. Keeps the record rocking, very grungy. And then it's got this piano breakdown. And I really like the transition into this organ-driven groove as the song ends. And you talk about compositions. This is one of the longer songs on the record, and it's got, a couple cool elements to it. I really like the composition and the transition, really showing off their abilities as songwriters and musicians there. Tarkina is your third song. It's mellow, and this is definitely where you get this kind of Echo and the Bunnymen feel. Definitely a very strong post-punk song. At the Time of Writing is your fourth track. This is probably my favorite. I love this song. It's got this great R&B groove balanced with a little bit of ska and punk. Reminds me a lot of, what The Clash did. And the rock and the riff on this song, it reminds me of Metallica's Until It's Sleep. Maybe I'm crazy, but listen to it. Let me know what you think in the comments. It reminded me of that, though. I think it sounds like it. I like it, though. 5, Nobody's Child is got this great bluesy riff. I really like the song, blended honestly with this feel of like the Cult. You got this 80s rock synth a little bit. Just reminded me of what they do, and I love the Cult as well. It's not a band that I don't think I mentioned enough on this channel, so I'm glad I felt that influence there, was digging that. Your sixth song is To the Ends of the Earth, acoustic-driven, post-punk, really liking this. Getting that Echo and the Bunnymen feel on that track as well. Reef is your seventh song. A lot of these songs, very obvious allusions to the subjects, and I like that. I think that it makes it easy if you're interested to, Google the subject, maybe find some material, some better reading material than, you'd find on the internet. And I dig that about their song titles and the way they sort of lead into that. Reef, talking about the Great Barrier Reef, these guys being from Australia. And this song has this 90s alternative feel, showing off a little bit of the different influences that they have and work with. Dug that track. We Resist is your 8th song. This song, it's very simple. I really like the simple instrumentation on this. It reminded me of kind of that dark post-punk stuff that was coming out of the early 2000s in New York. Interpol is what that reminded me of, and I love Interpol. Ninth song, is Lost at Sea. This is where I, really started to feel U2. Not started, but really felt it strong. This particular track has a great influence there, and I like the vibe. Undercover is your 10th song. This song has got a fun ska feel to it. I really dig the vibe and the energy. Picks it up from Lost at Sea because that kind of mellowed out the album for a little bit. And then We Are Not Afraid. I was not super crazy about this track. I feel like it meandered a little bit. And, frankly, Last Frontier, it's this big magnum opus. I really like all the instrumentation in that final track. Maybe if I had a constructive criticism with the runtime on this record, maybe cut out We Are Not Afraid. But overall, this thing, a phenomenal effort. And if it is the swan song, cheers to you guys. Thank you for all your contributions to music. Thank you for all your contributions to politics, to society. Thank you for making people aware of things, especially in your native Australia. I know you're very well regarded in that country. People admire you guys for your efforts. And if you're not going to keep making music, I know you're out there making a difference, doing something at the very least. So will vinyl please this record? I hope you find this review helpful, and I hope you enjoyed listening to this album. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We'll see you next time on the Beat Sessions.